Hi, this is the Wasting Time podcast. We are on episode. Chris, I'm looking at you.
Of course you are.
You're the guy with those things.
I'm get 139, I believe.
Okay, sound like Frank Turner now, where he does he counts down all his shows.
Yeah, what did he just hit 3,000 or something the other day?
Yeah. But he makes a big thing of tracking the number.
He does.
Basically, you're the Frank Turner of the podcast.
Okay,
right?
all right, I'll take that. We like Frank.
How's it going? What's going on?
It's going good. What's going on? As we record this, I am about to head up for a certain person's 40th birthday.
Oh yes,
in the Northeast. So yeah, my co-host here, everyone, he's turning 40 this weekend. Me and my wife are traveling up for his big do on Saturday, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I've got a week off after our birthday, so
Amazing.
bit of a busy week with work, just trying to get all those things tied up. Had a busy week this week. Had a little nice face-to-face meetup with the state champs boys. Derek and Tyler were very kind enough to give us some time. Dragged me onto their tour bus for a short interview. Which we should have some content up on our socials soon from.
Yeah.
You're going on the show this week as well, aren't you?
Yeah, tomorrow night. Planning to go tomorrow night, so that should be fun. Yeah. What's your interview? You did well. Handled the pressure of solo duties very well.
Solo duties on a tour bus with very tight confined space, which wasn't great for filming, and I was very close to both Derek and Tyler.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, we've said before, they're like the nicest guys. So dead easy to chat to. So it's good to see them again. Yeah, might see them later in the year potentially. Who knows? They're got plenty of stuff going on throughout the rest of the year, which you probably hear about if you listen to my interview. Cool. Much else going on in the music world? I feel like there's been new music out in the world since we last spoke. I'm not going to talk about Amber Pacific because I'm going to sound like a broken record.
You love that album, don't you?
It is good.
Is it? So you've been mainly spinning that album, have you?
I guess so.
Oh, Keep Flying had a new song. Friends of ours.
Oh yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Storm Chaser.
It's different. But it's
yeah.
Cause I've been chasing storms. It's
yeah. It's really good.
It's got a hook, a real hook to it.
Yeah. No. And it's like they have it's a bit different, but without ditching their sound too much, still making use of the horns. It's really cool. Go and check it out. Keep Flying. It's the band, and the song is Storm Chaser.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Actually, yeah, I have, and that reminds me, I have been. We got sent an advance of Data Remember's new record, which I believe the physical version is out, but the streaming version comes out in late March. But I've been listening to that a lot. Data Remember, not a huge fan, but they always have albums has a handful of songs that I enjoy, which is very much the case with this one. There's a lot of stuff that's not for me, but a couple of songs are absolutely banging. There's one called All My Friends. It's like one of the best Data Remember songs I've heard. I don't know. You'll have the link to that album as well.
Yeah, no, I'll go and check it out.
Yeah, track 4, it's banging, mate.
I'm just looking at my Spotify Jump Back In series, and it's Storm Chaser, Keep Flying, All In by Amber Pacific, The Heart by Grayscale, and then
nice.
Peppa Pig.
Yeah, often the theme with people with kids.
But Sam Fender's got a new album out, came out last week.
Any good?
I think it's great. It's very different. It's kind of lyrically, it's very good.
Yeah.
Musically, he's gone in a different direction. It's not as poppy, and there's not the big radio hits on there. But if you like Sam Fender, then go and check it out. He's obviously a local guy to me. So
yeah, literally a couple of roads away.
Yeah, and he was out in America, LA, recording that with the War on Drugs guy as well. So
cool.
It was all recorded out in the States. So.
Yeah.
He's been doing some big things out in America. I think he's starting to pick up a little bit of a following out there. Okay, I feel like we should talk about the Slam Dunk announcement today. They released
Yes,
their Clash Finder.
stage
Um,
times.
there you go. Stage times for Slam Dunk 2025. It's like perfect for me. Like I've been
Okay,
through it.
okay. So nothing clashes that you're really keen to see.
Literally, yeah. It's like this. It's as if it was made for me, basically.
Oh,
Um,
look at that.
so should we go through it for each of our own priorities for the day?
Yeah, let's do that.
So I've got hit the lights first early um, on the main stage. So hit the lights, have a little bit of a break. Homegrown, Ataris, starting line, Zebrahead, Finch, Newfound Glory, maybe a little bit of the used, neck deep, outline trio. Done. Simple. Like there's no like conflict in there whatsoever. It's like it's clear as day for me. So
Yeah,
how's it looking for you?
you've done very well out of it. So there's less stuff for me that I'm excited about. Not that I'm not into this lineup, but like the big ones I'm going to watch are I suppose Homegrown because I haven't seen them for years, and I don't think there's anything that really clashes with Homegrown. Wait, starting line playing after Homegrown, just after them.
No, a little bit after, yeah, three. I'm going to finish at 2:15. Starting line on till like 3:30, so there's a good break. You've got the Ataris in there. Surely you've got to go
I've
and see
seen
Chris Rowe.
maybe I feel like I've seen them enough over the years, but it has been a while, so maybe I will. I'll go and watch.
We're
We'll go and watch
definitely
Chris Rowe and Friends together.
if yeah, if your buddy's joining us on Slam Dunk weekends, then I'm sure he's going to want to go see the Ataris.
What else we got? Finch. I used to see Finch so much back in the day that I got sick of them. But it's been what? When was the last time I saw Finch? 22 years ago at least. So
Wow.
I'm probably going to have to watch Finch. Then Newfound Glory straight after Finch. So that works out well. And then probably the used. Don't think of. I must have seen the used before. And then yeah, that's kind of it. There's some cool. Oh, an Alkaline Trio. So yeah, it kind of works quite nicely for me as well.
You can do all the interviews then.
Yeah. You go off getting drunk watching bands, and
Yeah,
I'll have to think of all the interesting questions.
sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, we will be there on festival weekend, interviewing as many bands as possible. So make sure you kind of keep an eye on our socials, give us a follow, and you'll see all that content in and around the
Yeah,
festival.
yeah, we'll be doing lots of promo around it, and if you're there and you see us there, please come say hello because we love meeting people. We love like meeting the 5 people that listen to this podcast.
There you go. Maybe we'll see Rob Kellis getting his boys
Oh,
there, the TPD
yeah,
boys there.
always a
They'll be
pleasure to
there.
see that lot. Yeah,
Nice to see them. Yeah.
nice.
Cool. Right, shall we get into this episode?
Yep. So today we have real friends. We have Cody and Kyle. I spoke to them a couple of months ago, just around their record coming out. They were awesome guys. Really enjoyed the chat. I think let's just jump into it. Where are you guys at the minute?
We're in Nashville.
Yeah, we're in Nashville. We played here last night, and we just have an off day here today, so we're just hanging out.
You both familiar with Nashville?
Yeah, we've spent some time here. We actually did some writing here a couple of years ago, and we played shows here. So yeah, it's a good place to be on an off day for sure.
Nice, nice. And how's tour been so far?
It's been incredible. Yeah, it's been awesome. Is the interview started? By the way, I don't know if I should be in interview mode or just casual.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, this is what happens when my co-host Nick leaves me solo. Like I just kind of go straight into it because normally, and yeah. So you've pulled me up on that. Let me get the actual introductions out the way as well. So this can be in the interview. So I'm Chris, one half of the Wasting Time podcast. Obviously UK based, been doing this a number of years. So it's great to have you guys on the show. But appreciate having you both here. You guys don't have to introduce yourselves because we do an intro before this, so the listener will have heard that part already. So,
All right.
but yeah, you feel free to be in interview mode now, Kyle. Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah, yeah, it's funny because I just feel like you were like, "How's the tour?" I'm like, I could be in interview mode and get all into it, or I could just be like, "Yep, good, cool."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Go on. Give me the interview mode answer to that
yes.
question. That very
Um,
imaginative question.
yeah, the tour is awesome. It's a full U.S. tour. We're out with Can't Swim, Carly Cosgrove, and Slow Joy.
Hmm.
And we haven't properly headlined in a very long time. We did a lot of dates last year co-headlining with Knuckle Puck.
Yep.
So it's been really special to be able to do a tour that is really like Real Friends is highlighted.
Yeah.
It feels really good, and yeah, all the bands are awesome too. Like I, this is probably one of my most favorite tour packages we've ever had. I think all the
Oh,
bands,
wow.
yeah, all the bands just bring a really different element. Like I was, we were just saying last night about how the show just, it's kind of like everyone plays like a half hour and we play like an hour. It kind of goes by like
Yeah.
quick, but like in a good way. Like it just
Yeah.
feels like, all right, like I don't know. And every band just has a little bit different of a vibe, but it works together. So yeah, very, very, very stoked on it.
And how much of the new record is making its way into that set at this point?
I think there's 5 songs that we're doing.
Five, yeah.
I assume it feels exciting to be playing that because I guess the record's not that long out at this point.
Yeah, there's actually so When You Were Here it has been out for a year now. And then there's Waiting Room, which has been out for a couple of months, and the rest of
Yep.
it all came out last month. And it has been amazing to see, like, even When You Were Here, like it just now that it's been out for a year, it's been really cool seeing a lot of people sing along to those songs, and even the brand new songs like Cold Blooded has been getting a really great response live. And yeah, it's amazing too, having those newer songs, seeing people like cry in the crowd, or like not just kind of bobbing their head and singing along, but really like there's a feeling that there's kind of like exchanged with the crowd every night with those new songs, but that you can really tell
Yeah.
that they're like actually like special songs to them, and even though they're new songs, they're like, you can tell that they've really connected with those individuals.
Well, I suppose there's been a kind of distinct shift. I mean, kind of in sound with the new record. I mean, obviously it's broadly in the same genre, you could argue, but like it's very, you can notice the kind of change in direction you've done almost, and I guess it's darker themes. It kind of hits a bit harder. Maybe it's just like kind of like the song's just like sad, for a want of a better word.
Yeah.
So like, is that kind of like, so you feel like the Real Friends audience has embraced that kind of shift you guys are doing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was like a really important thing for us when we were in the studio, is we wanted to write songs that actually mean something and not just trying to make the most catchy, poppy, hooky song.
Yeah.
We wanted to make songs that really were an outlet for us, and were, something that there was a point to exist, and I think that's like always something that like I've always wanted to do with music, and I'm sure the rest of us always have too, is we wanted to make songs that, like, when someone hears them, it's more than just like a song to throw on at a party or whatnot. It's something that they can listen to and actually like get, the things in their head out, like a lot of the
Yeah.
times too with these new songs, we'll see people sending messages just being like, I have a hard time expressing my feelings, or these are things that have been, inside of me that I didn't even really know. And then by you singing them, or by having the words spoken through your music, it's like a therapy or an outlet for me, because it's getting it out of my head. It's someone else saying it for me, in a way. And so I think that that's really felt in the crowd, is they're not just songs that are like sick, like let's fucking circle pit to and whatever. It's like we still want that, but we also want the songs, like it's okay if people are standing there and just really soaking in the meanings of the songs and the importance of the songs.
What about you, Kyle? With like, how are you feeling about this kind of shift in sound that you got? And I guess, and to a question for both of you, lyrically, is this kind of, are you both contributing to this? Are you drawing on personal experiences for both of you in terms of what this album kind of tackles?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, I think the shift in sound, I think, is exactly what we've always wanted to do. I think it just kind of took us a while to figure
Got it.
out where to be, you know, and like to be totally honest with you, like Real Friends for the first, like, I guess probably 8, 9 years of us being a band, like we never really talked about sound. It was just kind of like
Okay.
whatever came out, and like that worked
Yeah.
well for a long time for us, you know. It was just kind of like natural shift of, I don't know, like we never were like, what do we want to do here? Like, what do we like? I don't know. It just, and that worked. And with this record, it was like a year and a half or a year or so leading up to it. We like really talked a lot about like what we wanted to do. And I
Got it.
think that really helped everyone get on the same page.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was a point in time where we felt like before that we did this record, like even the release before this, there's nothing worse than Too Late, which is an EP.
Yeah.
Like I love a lot of the songs on it, but I also feel like we still hadn't really found what we were going for. Like we hadn't hit our stride yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like just communicating really. It was everything, just really talking about like, you know, like Cody said, it was like trying to be as emotional as possible and like lean on that more. And I think that was a genuine way of approaching it, because it was kind of like we said, like, what is Real Friends known for? Like, what do people listen to Real Friends for?
Yeah.
And it's not to jump up and down and sing the catchiest song. It's to like be alone in your car driving at night and being like, damn, I feel that, you know, and like
Yeah.
just looking for some sort of companionship in life through music, you know, like so many of our fans, like that's what we hear all the time. Like we don't hear from people like, oh, it's the catchiest song, like all that. Like there's other great artists that can do that for people, you know, but
Hmm.
for us, it's about the connection, and it's about us also, like for Cody and I both, like lyrically moving on to that, like you had mentioned, it was like these songs for Cody and I that we've written, you know, we both contributed lyrically to this album. And for us, I mean, like it's our therapy, you know, and
Yeah.
it's something for us, like every single song on this album is like a real situation, and it's about real people, it's about real life. And I know both of us, when we put these lyrics into songs and you see it come to life, like it's healing for us, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, for doing this for so long now, that's something that I feel like I didn't really think about for a while. It was really with this new album that, I don't know, it was just like so many more people talking about, like Cody said, like the emotional side of things. And like we're just getting
Yeah.
so many messages from people, and like people on this tour talking to us, like just I think the fact that we tried to lean on that more, like the emotional aspect, the real aspect, like of the music, like is really showing, you know, just
Got
from
it.
people's responses, you know, and that's really gratifying for us, you know. And at the end of the day, it really makes me feel like we have a purpose, you know, as a band. And I
Yeah.
think I think that's really special to me, that we're able to speak to people, you know, through our music like that.
So do you think this is the direction basically that you guys in theory will continue to go in as your career goes forward? Like you'll focus more on that connection with your audience, as opposed to chasing like the big songs, as you touched on before. You said like obviously there's other artists who kind of, they go out there and that's what they're trying to do. And I guess, you know, if you look back at some of your poppier stuff, maybe that was part of the MO then, but like are you kind of abandoning that, do you think, and like
We
it's more
we still want big songs.
okay?
Don't get me wrong on that. We still
Yeah,
want
yeah,
big
yeah.
songs.
I think, you know, something that we talked about with that was like, not necessarily like, it's not black and white. It's not like just like, oh, like catchiness doesn't matter. We kind of
Okay.
had said like for us, we are very much like an emo pop punk band, and it's like we're not I don't know, like I feel like the catchiness is going to happen in the
Okay.
songs. You know,
Yeah.
like it's kind of naturally ingrained in us over all these years of writing, you know, and like we're not trying
Yeah.
to alienate that. But I guess a better way of putting it is the emotion and the aggression at times, the sadness, just all that, I think comes first before the
Okay.
catchiness. You know,
Okay.
like that is still on the checklist of like when we're going through songs. But then also too, like there was times where we were like, when we were writing the album where we were like, is that necessary? You know,
Okay.
like
Interesting.
something like yeah, like for like is it necessary for this part? You know,
Okay.
something that we did that I thought was really cool that we've never done before vocally when we were writing the lyrics and putting the vocals to the songs was like when Cody would be tracking vocals, we would kind of be like, there would be times where it was like, don't hold this out. Like, almost sound like you don't want to sing this, you know, and like have it
Okay.
reflect the sadness and like that. I think that really shows on the album, you know, like
Yeah.
there's just times where it was like, don't sing this the prettiest you can and just does it sound better catchiness wise holding this out or rhyming this word or whatever, sure,
Yeah.
but there were times that we threw that out the window, you know. We were like, this part calls for like the just the moodiness and the emotion of the part, like that's what we want to get across. But then on the other side there were times where it was like kind of like, all right, like this chorus, we want it to be big, we want it to, you know, like really have that catchiness, you know. So there
Yeah.
was a balance
Got
there.
it. And yeah, and to be clear, I should say as well, like I feel like the album, it takes like a couple of listens to like really kind of appreciate it for what it is. But like I remember on the first listen, like what was the song? I think it was track four. Was track four? Oh yeah, a place I don't think exists. Like first listen to that, the chorus, I was just like that was in my
Yeah.
head straight away. So the album, of course, absolutely does have those catchy moments. And like, did you do the whole record with Andrew Wade?
Yeah, we did. We pretty much wrote the whole record with him in
Yep.
Orlando. There's a couple songs that we were previous things that we had bounced around with some other people. But
Hmm.
for the most part, it was totally written with him. And then we recorded we recorded a good chunk of stuff with him as well there. And then we did record some instrumental stuff at home with
Okay.
one of our buddies, Seth, who actually recorded a lot of our earlier stuff, and he's done a
Was that
lot of
is that
knuckle.
the Henderson? Is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So, and you've done stuff with Andrew Wade previously as well, right?
yeah. He's kind
Yeah.
of been our go-to person for the
Yeah.
last like 4 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even though like it's sort of new sound for you guys, you wanted to do it with two people that you're comfortable with and you trust in, you know, what they bring to the process, I guess.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, Andrew. Yeah, go ahead, Cody.
I was just gonna say we did have a couple other people on the table that we were talking with, and then we did have the previous experience with Andrew, and we had like just a random writing trip planned with Andrew before we were going in with someone else to record the record. And the writing trip went really well, and we kind of just had this moment back at the Airbnb where we were all like, you know what, every time we work with Andrew it feels really good, and he really brings
Yeah.
out a lot of special moments in us, and a lot of like we feel like he understands the direction that we want to go in. And so we went like the next day into the studio, and we gave him a sheet that says, do you want to record our record, and it had yes or no on it, and,
Oh,
and
right.
just see
Okay.
if he wanted to circle it.
Like you're asking him out on a date.
But yeah, Andrew, I was also very keen on working with him. He is a very incredible vocal producer, and very good at lyrics, contributing in that aspect as well. Like
Yeah.
he's really good at helping. Like Kyle and I will be bouncing ideas back and forth, and he's really good at like putting those all into a pot and making them all make sense together. Um, so yeah, I was really keen on working with him. He's also really good at getting the delivery out of my voice that like
Nice.
I'm looking for. Like I think he really understands and knows my potential even more so than I do sometimes.
Hmm.
so yeah, so we really wanted to work with him at the end of it, and then yeah, we're very happy with the end product for sure.
And was it official, Cody? Was it like your first official full length with the band? Because it
Yeah,
feels like the other things have just been quite long EPs, but just EPs that you've done since
yeah.
being in the band. Yeah, well, congratulations on that. How does that feel to have like a full length out as an official member of Real
It's
Friends?
yeah, it's great. It's really nice to be able to finally have a full record with the band, because I have been with the band now for 4 years, and
Yeah,
we've had those two EPs, and like behind the scenes, we have done so much writing and so much
right.
recording. Within the 4 years of me being in the band, I think we have somewhere of like 80 songs, 90 songs, so like
Yeah,
we have enough for the rest of the, like, what most bands' entire catalogs are, we have sitting as B-sides, and so to
right.
be able to finally sit down and make a full record that was cohesive and really, like, just one full record was really nice to be able to finally do that. And um it's also nice to be able to make that statement too, as a a newer vocalist,
Yeah.
be able to come in and have two EPs that have done well, and to be able to be like, all right, like now we're doing a full length record and we're doing it independently. So which was like a really big step for
Yeah.
us as well.
Yeah, and actually on that subject, has that been a positive experience so far, releasing it not through a label?
Yeah, well, it's been a little bit scary at sometimes, because it is
Yeah,
the massive financial burden. It's like that's what a really big part of a label is just like giving you the money to do things.
yeah,
And so that's kind of scary, because if the record totally tanks, then we're in trouble. But but we have enough faith in the people who support Real Friends,
yeah,
and we've it's kind of been the band has been around long enough that we know that we're going to be okay, like it's we're going to be able to do this independently. And we wanted to take that leap because um we've worked with several labels in the past,
yeah,
and it's not even that there's like bad blood or anything like that. Like, a lot of the times they've done a great job, but we really wanted to have this be like our thing, and be a statement, just being like, here's a record, this is all us, 100% us, authentically us. And
yeah.
it's all in our court too. It's like we have to put everything into this, because if it doesn't, we're fucked.
Right. So, Kyle, is this the first full length that you've released independently? Has it been with a Pure Noise or a Fearless or whatever every time previously?
Yeah, this is the first full length, but we did release a lot of our earlier EPs
Yeah,
independently. But it was so much different back then in general. But then
yeah,
also just releasing a full length record is just so much more of a undertaking,
yeah,
Um, but yeah, but it's been awesome. Like I've really enjoyed that, doing it independently. I also feel like I've heard so many more fans mention it to us than I was expecting. Like I feel like there's something about right now. Like I think fans understand more than they used to about how record labels work and things. And like
right.
there's something about fans rooting for those independent artists,
Yeah,
and I really feel that, like, every night on this tour, I mentioned the album and I mentioned, hey, we're doing it on our own. And like everyone just cheers so loud. And like everyone is just like so
that's
excited.
cool.
And to me, it almost feels like more of a community aspect doing it independently than doing it with a record label. I feel like
Okay.
the fans feel so much more a part of it, and we remind our fans all the time. We're like, yo, you guys are the reason why this record exists, even,
Hmm.
because like doing it independently also, like, it was a choice. I mean, we could have released this record with there's a lot of different labels that wanted to release the record with us,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was by choice. But also too, the reason why it was by choice is because our fans are awesome and our fans support us.
yeah.
If we didn't have the type of fans that we do, like, it would not have been possible to do an independent release.
Right.
So
Yeah. So you have that confidence that they would kind of come through. That's really cool to have. So when you guys aren't out on the road, like what's home life like for you at the minute? It's kind of, is Real Friends like a full-time gig for you at this point, or do you kind of have to, what in between tours do other things to kind of keep it going?
Thankfully, we've been doing it full time since 2013.
Nice.
But I will say though, like the way that we operate as a band, I mean, a lot of us do other things for the band as well. Kind of bouncing off of the self-releasing a record thing. I mean, we have kind of always been a DIY type band, like we're all
Yeah.
on we're all on tour, loading in gear and everything. Like we don't really have that many crew members, and
Really?
The band is extremely self-contained.
Yeah.
Like Kyle was saying, it's very self-contained and it's very in-house for a lot of things. Kyle handles a lot of the merch stuff too. I'm sure he can expand on that. Like we have an office in Chicago, and him and the rest of the guys, they'll be sending out merch. Like we'll get 1,000 orders in, and then they're spending the next 3 days packing and shipping and kissing all the orders.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like an avenue. Like as Cody said, like the merchandise and stuff. It's like that's kind of like when I'm home, that's my job really, is sending out all the merch shit. And this album, kind of circling back to the album in relation with sending out. This was also the first time that we sent out our own record, like pre-orders and stuff, and that was like that was a big step for us. Like it's kind of like in the weeds, I guess, but kind of like business wise, like for us, like that was a big thing for us to do. We had never sent out that many records,
Right.
But that I don't know. There was something about it though that just made it all just feel that much more personal. I mean, like we put in handwritten lyrics with every single like bundle that we sent out, and like people were writing notes and were writing back, and it's like that's not something you get when you're on a record label and you just kind of have some merch company sending out all the records. Like I know that's like such a little thing, but to us, I think Real Friends, all those little things add up to something really big, and I think fans notice that, fans notice when you write something back to them, like there's been fans on this tour, even they're like, hey, you sent me a shirt, you wrote me back, like I'll never forget that, and it's like it's so easy for us to kind of just like not really think about that because we're moving 100 miles an hour. It's always what's next. It's the next show. It's the next album, all this stuff. But I think Real Friends, we always try to service the fans that are not only diehard fans, but all the fans, that are here. And it's like making that, writing a note to somebody, like they're never going to forget that, I've had fans on this tour message us, and they've mentioned about they're not able to come to the show, they hit hard times or whatever, and there's been shows I'm like, hey, I'm gonna guest list you, like
that's lovely.
Yeah, we have room on our guest list, and people are like literally like, I'm in tears, I can't believe this, like all those little things, like that's those things really, really matter to us,
Yeah, and that's amazing for fans to get a connection with you guys like that. Were you when you were sending those records out? Were you sending them all across the world? Was it? I mean, what percentage was going to Europe and Australia and stuff? Was there a few?
Yeah, there was actually quite a few, and like going overseas. Most of it is US,
of course.
But we had a lot, and like that. For me too, like, and our drummer Brian and our guitar player Eric helped me send those all out as well. And it's like that kind of almost like, I don't know, like something about that just made me appreciate things more, because you're sending out this record, and as we talked about, there's so much that went into this record and everything.
Yeah.
And here you are looking at it. It's like, here, this is going to Ohio. This is going to Perth, Australia. This is going to London. Like, just seeing it and like kind of feeling it and like doing the work for it and like packing these records and just seeing all that like just kind of really puts it into perspective. And that's a thing that a lot of bands aren't able to see, you know. They're like, it's just someone else doing it, you know. I don't recommend every band send out their merch, trust me, uh but I will say, like, there's just something about it that just is really cool to really just see where everything's going. You know, it puts it in perspective.
A question that my co-host, who, as I said, for yellow card reasons, isn't on this call, but something he did want me to put to you, Kyle, actually, was just he wanted me to quickly ask about your love of poetry, and you published a book, and just like how much that kind of bleeds into lyric writing as well.
I have two books that I've just self-published, and I think for me, I started doing poetry because I've always been one of the primary lyricists in the band, and I just wanted a different outlet for writing. And you know, there's certain things you can't write a song about, you know, like, and what I love about poetry is I could write like a sentence and that's a poem, you know. And there's just so many different things to write poems about than like an entire song. So that was the reason why I got into that. Yeah, I will admit though, I don't really read that much poetry. So
Okay.
But I am passionate about writing it, and I do hope to do another book hopefully next year.
So Cody, before you came, so you said you came in the band about 4 years ago now, so sort of 2020, around that sort of time. Were you in? Was it Youth Fountain you were in before?
Yeah, I had. Sorry, there's a bunch of crows freaking out above me right now. Yeah, I've been in several bands before, Real Friends. I was in two bands before that I was actively in, Youth Found and Parting Ways, and yeah, so I left Youth Found, and I'm still kind of in Parting Ways. Parting Ways is kind of just like a bunch of my close friends. We make music together, and it's like a do it when you can kind of thing.
Are you from Canada originally then?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because I was just we did have Tyler on the show a few years ago. I was just like,
oh yeah,
that band's Canadian. So I guess you guys taught? When I say you guys, I mean you and Real Friends. Had you taught together? Is that kind of how the connection had come before?
No, how it happened was like obviously Youth Found was starting to get some attention. We were doing some touring and stuff, and I think that like when Real Friends was looking for a vocalist, they were kind of just out prospecting, and they shot me a message on Instagram, and I was actually like in the process of kind of distancing myself from Youth Found, so it kind of just worked out perfectly. Yeah,
it's been an interesting experience for me, kind of preparing to speak to you guys, because it's a weird one, because I'm kind of like just so into this scene, whatever you want to call it. Like if you look back at the 9 years we've done of Wasting Time and the guests we've had, you know, you'll see lots of familiar names you've toured with and you listen to or whatever. And like, I don't know why, but like Real Friends, obviously I've known of you guys for as long as I can remember, but I've never really gone in and listened. I think it's because from the early days it just felt, just to me personally, like I thought it was cool, but like it reminded me of the Starting Line a lot with the vocals and stuff. And like, so I don't know, I just never really gave it the attention I should. But like, obviously I've been listening to you guys loads in the run up to this, and like I've missed out because you have so many tunes, and I love what you've brought to the band, Cody. I mean, obviously, as we've said, this new record is really cool, and it's a whole new direction. But just like the EPs you've been involved with before, I just think you've had, it just shows what an impact Real Friends has had on this scene. Because, you know, sometimes in these interviews we kind of like just go through the career a little bit. I don't want to just go through this happened and this happened and stuff. But Carl, if you can kind of like look back to the early years, what were kind of like some of those kind of big moments in the band when things obviously grew for it, and like that you hold dear in your memory the most? What are those early big moments? It might be a tour, it might be a release, like, because I guess this band's been together for 14 years or something by now, so there's a lot to draw upon there, I realize.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird to think about that. 14 years. makes me feel kind of old. But yeah, I think really there when you had asked that, there's a couple things that stick out in my brain.
Yeah.
And one of them was our EP titled "Everyone That Dragged You Here," which was an EP that we released in 2012. Um,
Yeah.
and I remember specifically us putting it online and just like there was no release date set or anything. It was just like, all right, songs are done. All
Right.
right, put it up. Okay, there was an album cover that we took. This girl I was dating at the time took a picture of me on her iPhone in front of some house. Like I'm turned around and we're like, all right, cool. That's the album cover. All right, cool. Like just very casual, like not really much thought into. We're just like, yeah, these songs are cool. Like we're into it. And within like 2 weeks, it was like all of a sudden, like all these people from different states are like, come play shows here. Come play shows. We're like, weird. Like we weren't like, we're going to be a band. We're going to tour. We're going to like
Yeah.
do all this stuff. Like it was literally just like, we had all been in other bands prior, like in the local Chicago area.
Sorry to cut in, but I've seen you say in other places like it was almost like you were done with music by the time Real
Yes.
Friends became a thing, which is crazy to
Which is
think all these
funny.
years later.
Well, yeah, well, that's an example of someone thinking they're so old, but they're so young, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like literally 21 years old, and I was
Right.
like, I've
Yeah.
been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I'm hanging it up. Yeah. No, for me, it
Yeah.
really was. It was like I was a little burnt out. I was in a lot of other bands, nothing notable, but bands that I felt like there was no one on the level of commitment that I was on. Like it
Yeah.
was, and I felt very burnt out by that. And I was just kind of like, I just wanted to be in a band, and that was it. I didn't want a plan B. I was like, let's tour, let's do this. And then
Yeah.
when we started doing Real Friends, it was very much like, just like, all right, well, let's just write some songs that are cool. And like, I don't know, I'm kind of like checked out right now with all this, you know. And it just so happened to take off, you know. And I think part of that was because we didn't care, you know, as much about all those things. I think it was just very genuine, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny to think because that's kind of the mindset that I was in when I joined Real Friends as well. It was just a much later stage in my life that happened.
Yeah.
So, how old were you by that point, Cody? If you don't mind me asking.
I was 30.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really funny to be able to be like, yeah, it's funny hearing Kyle speak of that. I've never really heard that before, that he was like feeling burnt out of music or whatever. Cause yeah, he's just a little boy, you
I
know,
know.
and there
It is
I
funny
was
to
in
think
my,
about that.
I was in my like 7th or 8th band being like, I'm fucking done with music. I was like, I don't think this is for me. And now here I am 4 years later in Real Friends.
Yeah. And it is funny when you I guess we're probably all guilty of this when we look back earlier in our life. Like at certain ages, you think, oh, I'm so old now. Like I'll be on, so like if you're on Reddit and you're in that pop punkers thread, like people will talk about their ages and like someone will be like, oh, I'm 26. I'm so old. I'm like, dude, I'm 41, you know, like 26 sounds very young, you know?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, and then the one other thing I was going to mention, going
Oh
back
yeah,
to your
go on.
question about, yeah, it was that EP specifically, and then also Warp Tour 2014. It was the first year that we played the entire Warp Tour,
Hmm.
and there was just something about that summer, like while we were on the tour and after, even like you felt like a step up, you know,
Got
and
it.
like there was just something magical about that summer that really just, I think, really solidified us as like a staple band in this music scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just always sticks out to me as like, I just remember finishing that Warped Tour and just feeling like almost like this is like surreal, you know,
Yeah.
this is my life. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy because like when we first started doing stuff, I didn't know, like there's been bands that I love for growing up that it's like, oh, they were a band for 2 years and they toured for a year, and oh, I love those bands, but they just hung it up, you know. And
Yeah.
uh in hindsight now, to be able to say that we've been a band for 14 years, doing it full time for 12 years, I mean, I'm very grateful for that. And I look at Warped Tour 2014 as kind of like the beginning of that.
What bands did you bond with that summer? Because bands always talk about when they did the Warped Tour and everyone's kind of together and stuff. Any bands that stand out that you bonded with in particular?
Yeah, I mean that year it was like Neck Deep was on it. State Champs was on
Oh
it.
yeah, we just had State Champs on the show recently. Lovely chaps.
Yeah, State Champs is on it. The Main was another band that we met that summer.
Nice.
Who we've had like really strong ties to ever since then. So a lot of bands that are still doing it, still going strong.
Nice. Do you kind of think about well, if my maths is correct, I guess you guys are kind of like mid 30s if you were 34 years ago, Cody. Do you think about the future and how long you want to do this for? Because like we were just talking to Dave Brownsound, and obviously Sum 41 are kind of calling it a day, and they're sort of, I guess, they're early to mid 40s. Do you see yourselves going past that age? That maybe that's just not something you think about and you just take it as it comes. But
I think I'm gonna give it another like 8 months or something, maybe.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, I think throughout my entire life that's always been a question. It's like when are you supposed to hang up the towel or give up on this, or what age is an appropriate age to be in a pop punk band? And but I think the thing is with being in a band like this, we obviously are bringing in newer fans and younger fans, but this is also a genre, and our fan base is something that is growing with us, and so a lot of these people, are going to be there, and there's always going to be that, maybe when we're all 45 and 50 years old, there's going to be a 45-year-old that discovers us for the first time, that grew up on pop punk music, and we're going to be able to, make a new record for them. And it's the same way as you look at any, staple Iron Maiden or Metallica and stuff like that, or Slipknot, or even Korn or whatever. It's like these bands that are 55 years old now that were 20 when they popped off, and their fans were 20. But now you go to a Korn show and you're going to look at a whole bunch of old heads. There's going to be younger people there. It's going to be the old heads' kids, a lot of the times. And I feel like that's like something that is possible with Real Friends as well. So it's something that is always in the back of your mind, like, how long am I going to be able to do this? But if I'm able to do this successfully and I'm still connecting with people, it really is like the most important thing in my life. And I don't think I would be here if it wasn't, and even with having joined Real Friends at the age that I did, like that was because I didn't give up when I was 24 years old, and I didn't hang up the towel. I kept pushing, and it's something that has always just been so ingrained in me, and such a big part of my life. So I really can't picture a life without it. I hate to even think about it, because it really has been the majority of my life. So, if I can do this until I'm 50 years old, then that's awesome. That's the end goal. It's just the thing is being a musician is it's always evolving, and it's never like a sure thing. We could release 2 shitty records after this and then not have a career anymore. But you always just have to hope for the best, and hopefully not. And you just have to hope for the best and do what feels right to you and trust it. And I think that's just like that's where we're at, is especially with this new record, is we just made what felt right to us, and hope for the best and put it out into the world, and hope that people connect with it as much as we we want them to.
Real quick, what about your UK experiences? Because I know obviously you guys have toured over here a bunch. Feelings about the UK? Do you enjoy coming here? Any favorite spots?
It's been too long, that's for sure.
When were you last here?
We did Slam Dunk last year. Or
Okay.
was it was the year before? No, I think it was last year
No,
that we
2
did Slam
years.
Dunk. Was it
I
two
think it
years
was
ago now?
2. Yeah, well,
I think it was last year.
technically 20. I guess it was technically 23 because the next one is 25, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah,
correct.
it was technically last year. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time we were over, and we were just over for 2, festival dates. The last time we actually toured the UK was with Mayday Parade supporting, and it was one of the first tours after COVID. It was like the first year of me being in the band, so it was very, very fresh after that, and people were still scared to go to shows and stuff, and so um, it's actually like mind-boggling to me that in 4 years we've done one tour and a couple festival shows. So I think with this new record, a really big part, and I'm always bugging the band about it. And I to the point where they're like, "We know you're driving us crazy," but I'm always pushing to get more international stuff, and I really, really want to do more stuff in the UK and Europe in general, and just all over the world. Like we're going to Mexico next month, and then we're going to Jakarta. So we're going to be playing the World Friends' first show in Asia before the end of the year, which is a really good way to kind of start things off. And hopefully next year it'll just be full of that, where we can go to Australia again, and UK and Germany and all these other places where we know we have fans and we have people we can connect with. So yeah, to hopefully get the record out there more and to just continue to grow the band.
I hear there's quite a big market for this kind of music in Indonesia. I remember Tobin at Hopeless telling me once that the numbers Neck Deep do in Indonesia is just off the chart,
Yeah,
so that's cool you're playing there.
A lot of Asia apparently. I've talked to movements about when they were over in the Philippines and said it was just like mind-boggling, just like crazy amount of fans and supporters out there. And so yeah, a lot of Asia, like Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, like Malaysia and stuff, like there's a massive market out there for this genre. And it's crazy too. Like I wish I could dive a little bit more into it, and maybe at some point I will, because I do like to discover new music a lot. But there seems to be like a lot of bands that are coming out of there as well, and it's kind of the same. Like I can sympathize with them because I'm a Canadian and I felt very stuck in Canada for a lot of my career. Because it's like if you're not from America, or maybe the UK, it's like it's really, really difficult to get out of those markets. And so it seems like there's not only a shit ton of fans out in Asia, but there seems to be a really big like this festival we're playing in Jakarta. There's a whole bunch of bands that I looked up that have 5 million monthly listeners, and they don't tour outside of Indonesia.
It's like, what that's crazy,
fuck?
isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, oh shit, like there's all these bands that are coming up there. So yeah, I'm excited to go check that place out and be able to connect with those two people.
Just got a couple of kind of like more general questions for you guys, and then I'll let you go and we can wrap this up. If that's cool with you guys.
Yeah.
For what I got here. Oh yeah, I'm just curious what current artists are you guys spinning at the minute? Who's kind of been on your on repeat playlists recently?
For me, when I'm on tour, I don't really listen to that much music.
Do you not?
Yeah. So of course, all the bands we're on tour with. That's most of the music that I'm hearing every day.
Of course.
But I've been specifically, I guess, recently kind of more into like some heavier stuff. There's a band called Nails. That's really awesome heavy band. They just put out a new full length a couple months ago. That's been heavy on my rotation.
Yeah, I think they just played Damnation in the UK, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you had asked me in 1 month, I would have a really great answer for you, because I do this thing that I've done for the past like 10 plus years, where in December I spend like a week on the internet and I just look for all the music that came out that year, all the new bands that are coming out. Like I just do this massive deep dive of finding new music. So yeah, in a month from now, I'll have a really great answer for all of my favorite songs that came out in 2024. But for right now, what I do is I make a playlist and then I listen to that playlist all the way until the next December. And then I make a new playlist. So I kind of don't allow the new music to come in because there's been so much good music that's come out this year. Like Stories So Far and Neck Deep and State Champs and all these other bands that are like although those are like, some of the bigger records in this genre, but there's just so much other stuff that's come out that I haven't even touched because I'm just waiting till December. But as far as from last year, I've been listening to I like Spite, I like PD. I listen to a lot of Spirit Box. I like the new Trophy Eyes record, and the new Bring Me the Horizon stuff was pretty good. And then I've also got into hyper pop last year because I was really going off. So I got into Live and Break-ins and a lot of that kind of world. So yeah, kind of just bouncing all over the place.
Who's on the list for bands you want to tour with that you haven't toured with yet?
Yeah, I feel like our answers are probably, maybe Kyle and I are the same, just as far as like a bigger band like that we could support that we think we would really benefit from would be like a band like Pierce the Veil or Sleeping with Sirens or something like that. Like a band that we feel like is like, I would really like for us to tour with bands that are kind of in that heavier emo direction that we're like going in with this newer record. So yeah, I think that would be great. And then obviously just like friends and bigger bands like doing another tour with Neck Deep, or even like that Movement Citizen tour just got announced, and it's like, fuck, I wish we were on that. Like that would be such a perfect tour for us.
Yeah, I was going to say like something on this record as well that we've really talked about is like wanting to tour with heavier bands, like even some bands that are, maybe really heavy bands that I think a lot of fans of bands like that, especially now that are older and stuff, I think are more open. I think that we would stick out on a tour with a lot of heavier bands, just something different, but still I feel like our new record has that little bit of an edge that it makes sense, so for us, really, I think it's all about just getting in front of people that are like, who's Real Friends? I don't know who that is, or, oh, I know the name, but I don't really listen to it. Like that's really our goal for 2025 for touring.
And then one final question for you both, very, very generic, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you could take one record to a desert island with you, which album are you both taking?
I thought for you it would for sure just be American Football.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind at first is like American Football. Probably actually their second full-length record.
I know they're a big influence on you guys.
Yeah, for me, it would probably be maybe They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath. Yeah, that would probably be up there. Maybe Sempiternal by Bring Me the Horizon.
No, it's just one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just one. We'll go Under Oath.
That's the fun of the question.
I could make a burnt CD with all my favorites, though.
No, one record.
That's not allowed. All right, guys. Appreciate you giving me all this time. It's been really great to virtually meet you, at least. Hope the tour continues to go well. Hope the records is really successful, and hope to see you over this way before long again.
I do want to end the interview by saying,
please.
There has been a back and forth communication going to the UK next year on the tour. So I will say that.
Okay, watch this space then.
Yeah, so I can almost guarantee that you will see us in the UK next year.
Fantastic.
Yes, there has been a conversation, and it'll be a very exciting time if it happens. So there's a good chance we will see you soon.
Amazing. I'll catch you in London, guys.